My name's 𝗕𝗶𝗸𝗲 and I designed these two. Everything is on needle roller bearings, and even if you get them running, they're going like an electric drill, but to get them running very slowly and balanced, that's the difficulty. If you take them to a show, you don't want to see something doing 3000 RPM. You just want to see the motion, the hypnotic motion of it all. And what's difficult is welding it all together, because every time you weld it, everything moves. Therefore, you've got to mark it all out again and machine it so that everything is lined up within a thou, two or three thou. If it's not, it just won't work.
This is Jeff, and it's steam bike, the steam organ, so fantastic, bit of operational, all run by steam. And this is his bike that he demonstrates throughout the world, steam bike. So no petrol, just water. Water in the heat.
I'll fire it up shortly, Sam.
Wonderful, wonderful. Right, well, wander on. That's a 404 here. I think this one here is probably the best bike that Honda ever made. Low little bike, 400cc, 4-cylinder engine, single disc on the front, quite low. Lovely little bike to ride on, and easy to reach the ground on, so terrific little bike.
You can't have it?
No, I've got two inside, and they're better than that.
I've had that. Yeah. I've had that one from you, look. I have, yeah. Thank you.
These are another step through. This one, this is one of the C90, which is one of the best-selling bikes that Honda ever made. I think they made something like 18 million of them, you know. So then that's another step through there. That's a smaller one. That's the 50. Trail bike. A 1970 little trail bike. Right. NS 500 1982. Freddie Spencer won the World Championship. This was one of the Honda great two-strokes. 3-cylinder, 2 cylinders going that way and one going up like the DKW. 2 and 3-cylinder, which was a good combination. Often 3-cylinder engines are good. A lot of manufacturers of cars make 3-cylinder engines. They seem to work well. Big duct into there, the radiator up in here, so you keep it cool. And your exhaust come up through the back here. You've got down below and up through here. So, and of course the big section rear tire. That's an intermediate. The slicks have no treads on them. We managed to get these two bikes from the great Jim Lilly collection. He was in poor health, so he decided to sell them to the museum, so we were lucky to be able to purchase the Honda and the Suzuki Mark V. Again, this is 4-cylinder, 2-stroke, fantastic bit of gear. Twin discs on the front, quite a nice bike to ride. Very high footrests on it as usual for the ground clearance, and here you've got your choke in here where you can adjust the mixture while you're flying along. So generally when you're flat out down the straight, you give it a bit more to richen the mixture up so it didn't seize on you, throw you down the road. So lovely bike. Great to ride. That's your damper, where you could adjust your damper while you were riding. A couple of turns that way and you could soften up whether you want more damping or less damping on the steering, so you didn't get the head shakes on. Especially when you were diving down Deer's Leap on the Ulster Grand Prix, it was like that there. You needed the steering to be almost solid. So great job, great bike, and pleased to have them. Operational.
And then well.
Right, Alan, let's have a chat about this fantastic Kawasaki 6-cylinder. So, tell me the history about this then.
Well, it's not really a long history, but lockdown came in, was it February 2020? And I was a bit bored, and I'd made the Honda 6, and I really fancied a Kawasaki 6. So I got an old 𝗕𝗶𝗸𝗲𝗀, and within about 3 months I made the first one of these, which is a blue one. And the engine is basically a standard 𝗕𝗶𝗸𝗲 engine. You just saw off cylinders off the end of one and weld them onto the other engine. The camshafts are all cut and welded, crankshaft unpresses and presses back together. But I've reconfigured it so it's a 120.
Who does the welding for you?
Tracy. No, I do everything at home. And what you see on the YouTube videos is how it actually is. I've got a single garage, very little tools, and just a very small lathe and a mill and a TIG welder.
You want a job?
Every time I come here, Sammy asks me that. If I lived closer, I'd come down more often. But it's 80 miles.
It would be great to have you because you working on the museum projects would be phenomenal. And I don't know how you manage to do it. And what's amazing in life, you find lots of these people who have great ideas and great projects, but they never finish them. So Alan's one of the people who finishes them, and they all work. He's ridden this today, and he's been all over the country on it, and his Honda 6, which he was going to bring today and run with the NS 500, but we decided it was too much graft.
No, what it was is I've been a trailer queen. I like to ride my bikes to shows, and if I take the 6, I've got to bring my trailer, which is all very well, but it's just not the right thing. So it's a lovely day. We wanted to come two up on the Kawasaki, so that's what we did. It was a bit chilly at first, but it's a lovely day. But this guy, somebody asked about the ignition. It's got a Boyer Branston specially made ignition with electronic advance, because that way I can reduce the engine width by 20 millimeters, which is quite a lot when it's wider than it should be. And I was also going to get rid of the alternator and reposition it to make it narrower, but the problem with doing that, it would look less like a Z1. And from the side-on picture, it's exactly like an original Z1. And I tried to keep it looking as original as I can, which is why I've left the Z900 badges on there, because they're iconic.
What a Kawasaki think about you producing all these bikes and making them look like fools, you know?
The funny thing is, the designer of this bike, who's just recently died, which really sadly, 𝗕𝗶𝗸𝗲𝗲, contacted me on Facebook and he likes this bike. So I felt quite sort of privileged and humbled really that he's in Japan, he's 87 years old, he just passed away this last month I think. But he actually messaged me saying he approves of my conversion. So that was proper good.
You must have done quite a few conversions now, and I know you've got some in the Barber Museum, and we are lucky to have one of your little 100cc V twins on loan in our museum if you want to look in the Japanese section. Very proud to have that. So does Barber still request all your projects?
He has contacted me recently. He wants the 𝗓𝗏𝗲𝗲, but that's not for sale at the moment. So I really enjoyed riding that. In fact, I'm taking it to the Goodwood Revival on Thursday, so I'll be riding it around in the paddock, which should be a laugh. But I've got 4 bikes in the Barber Museum. My first Kawasaki V12, the V8, one SS100, and the 5-cylinder 2-stroke. They've been there since 2001, so it's quite cool. And they're in their own little display area by the window with leather chairs, which is really nice. I've never actually been, but when I do go, I'll be sitting in the chairs to check them out. But I've made quite a few bikes over the years, but in total, I'm nearly approaching 60 bikes since 1996, and most of them are ridden. There's a few sort of stored places, I suppose. I've got 14 or 15 myself. But it's nice to see. It's what's really great when you go to a bike meet and you pull up and someone else has got one of my bikes and they pull up as well. So that's always really good.
So what are you working on now, Alan? What projects have you got? Don't embarrass me too much, please.
Well, sadly, I'm sort of getting into media in some respects. I work a lot with Henry Cole with the TV stuff. I've been in the classic motorcycle mechanics articles, and my YouTube channel takes up most of my time, so I've not actually got, at this moment in time, a project on, but I'll get inspired over the winter, I think. That's what I've got a 𝗩𝗶𝗸𝗲 V-twin engine I've built, which is sitting there alongside my 𝗩𝗶𝗸𝗲 V-twin that's in one bit. I need to make a bike for that, I think, really.
You brought that down to the last Richmond Day, didn't you? Write it down. Wonderful project. Why didn't 𝗩𝗶𝗸𝗲s do the like of that in their day?
I think they missed the plot. 1938, the V-twins are starting to go out of fashion, really, weren't they? So if they'd have made it in the 20s, I think they would have done well. I do believe they had one on the drawing board, but it was poo-pooed by the management. So,
but unbelievable. And how do you overcome all the crank alignment and camshaft alignment when you cut and shut them?
Basically, I do a lot of it by, I've got a little degree disc I put on my lathe, pointer. But the ones is within half a degree or so, it's good enough for a road engine. It doesn't need to be any better. You don't have to degree it in exact, just talking about high revs racing engines. And with these things, it's all about the torque. I've got a 29 tooth back sprocket and a 16 tooth front, and it'll pull top gear 2 up most hills at 15 mile an hour. You just open the throttle and it pulls like a train. It's all about low speed.
So how much have you lifted the gearing then with the extra 2 cylinders? What sort of how high a ratio are you pulling?
Well, I don't know about the ratio, but it's 2,000 revs at 55, which is nothing. I think it should be about 4. But I think the standard Z1 revs out at 9,000 revs at 132. With this, we're doing 170. If it would pull that speed, which it wouldn't. But John Nutting rode it for the classic motorcycle mechanics, and he loved it.
Do you try to keep the rev limited on in case it flies to bits? What's your maximum RPM?
Well, that's exactly the same as the original bike. Nothing's changed. So it's got a rev limiter set for 8,500. But that's because it's a standard Z1 engine, just slightly wider. All the rev limits are the same. This has actually got 1,015 pistons, so it's just under 1,600 cc. 1560, I think it is.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So let's hear it come to life, Alan. Fire it up and keep quiet while you can listen to Alan's fantastic Kawasaki 6-cylinder. The only one in the world. How lucky you all are. He's made 2, sorry. There you go, 6-cylinder Kawasaki. So better than the Honda CBX. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Alan. A little ripple for Alan.
And also the face of the makes the cupcakes.